Okay. Now we are recording, and now I think we can start. And so first of all, welcome to another session, online session of this Winners Academy. We are getting to an end, I've told you, but we still have two more important and very full of contents to share with you. Today, we are going to have something here with us, someone who you might know. I don't know if you know him or if you know who he is, but let me introduce you our speaker and our guest of today. He was born in São Tomé e Príncipe, and he lives in Portugal since 1990. So he lives in Portugal for 33 years, am I right? So it's a long time. He has a degree in information systems and management, a master's in innovation management, and an MBA also in this area. Professionally, he works with computers and technologies, having been a computer programmer, a project manager, and a director of department. But he is also a communication coach, mentor, and certified trainer. He joined the Lisbon MBA Toastmaster in July 2017 and became a dual member in 2021 by joining the PMI Portugal Toastmasters. He has a lot of experience as a VPPR, VPE, president, and immediate past president, but also he is currently the Division 1 area director. Actually, he's the area director from D1. But the thing that really makes us have him with us today is all his huge and incomparable experience in contests. He has attended several contests since 2018. In 2018, he became the champion of the Division D for the evaluation speech contest in Portuguese. And his journey as a champion has just begun there. In 2019, 2020 and 2021, he was the District 107 champion for the International Speech Contest. In 2021, he reached the World Championship of Public Speaking after 2 qualifications in the Region 10 contest and in the World Championship semifinals, respectively, becoming top 8 out of more than 30, sorry, I'm even confused with these huge numbers. So let me say this again. It became top 8 out of more than 30,000 contestants around the world. So he is here with us today, and he is Izidro Sousa. Welcome him.
Thank you, Vera. Thank you, everybody. Well, I have to say this first, because I was about to come here and deliver an outstanding presentation. But as you can see, I got a cold, have a cold, and I don't want you to leave this talk with wrong idea about myself. I don't want you to leave this talk thinking that, okay, Izidro is not that great. I really am. I am. Believe me, I am. But you know, I have this cold, so everything that goes wrong is because of this, okay? It's a deal. Well, guys, public speaking is an art, and you have several things to work on to have a good speech. But if you are looking for tips on vocal variety, it's not today. It was with Carol Bowser. If you are looking for tips about humor and other stuff, not me today, okay? I will talking about structures and some building blocks that if I knew in 2019 when I won the district for the first time, I would not be ashamed of my speech today. I know that was the winner speech, but today when I watch it, I said, oh boy, you could have done differently here and there. So I will share these few tips. I hope it can help you. And I want you to know that these tips are very specific for the contest. There are certain patterns in the contest, but of course, being public speaking, you can use it everywhere if you wish. I will start by sharing with you for the very first time my speech in the semifinal. This is the record that was made. Toastmasters sent me. I didn't want to watch it because they sent when I had already lost the final. So I didn't want to watch it at all until a few days later when I was already, okay, I lost, but at least I reached the final. So if you allow me, I will share my screen with you. And I hope it goes. I'm sharing my screen already? No. No, okay. Share screen. It's this one. Let me see if I... Let's see if the sound it's working. Can you hear? Okay, wait. Nope. So I have to do this, maybe. You know, I told you I have a cold, remember. So, advanced option. So I'm sharing. I don't know why it's not. I will stop sharing and try to share.
I think you need to make that definition to also share the sound.
Okay, please do.
When you are sharing and you click the sharing button, you have there.
Oh yeah.
That's what you need to do. Oh, it's a call, don't worry.
Of course.
Izidro Sousa, The Power of the Right Thing. The Power of the Right Thing, Izidro Sousa.
Sometimes my life is a mess. There is sorrow in my chest, and I don't know what the right thing to do is. Do you? Madam Contest Chair, fellow Toastmasters. In the 90s, when I arrived in Portugal from Africa, one of my best friends was João. João, a Portuguese white fellow, and I, a black guy from a tiny country in Africa, São Tomé and Príncipe. Our differences, though, were not a problem for our friendship. Not at all. In fact, I even dared to teach him how to dance kizomba, an African dance. Oh, yes. Unlike today, watching a white guy dancing kizomba back in the 90s, Mamma mia, it was hilarious. But João did great. In return, he introduced me to some amazing rock bands that I've never heard of. That's the reason for that. How could I do my kizomba moves to the sound of knock, knock, knocking on heaven's door from Guns N' Roses. It would be equally hilarious, right? Joe really was my best buddy. But in 1994, when he already knew that I was devastated by the news about the genocide in Rwanda, in Africa, I caught him making fun and bad jokes about it with other people. I felt so embarrassed, betrayed. We had a big argument, and sadly, we stopped talking to each other. 22 years later, in 2016, I heard that Rwanda was doing great economically, but because of the genocide, I was skeptical. So I watched an interview with a history teacher from Rwanda, a woman with a big and beautiful smile. It was a powerful lesson about how to rise from the ashes. At a certain point of the interview, the reporter asked her how many friends she had lost in the genocide. And all of a sudden, she looked down in complete silence for a while. And then she said, I lost my entire family. Entire family, including her husband and her 4 children, whom she saw being killed with machetes while she was being raped. At that point, my heart was about to shatter because I thought about my own family. And I found it absolutely unforgivable. For my surprise, this woman, and indeed the Rwandan people, they have forgiven. And I couldn't get it. And I said, why? And the reason was to move forward as a nation and build a better future. Oh, it is so difficult and yet so powerful at the same time. And I was confused. I stopped the video. Too late. Too late, because it felt like I was not the same person anymore. And suddenly some of my big problems and complaints seemed to be that big. And I was ashamed of myself, ashamed for being angry with my friend João. We hadn't spoken to each other in 22 years, but I immediately set about trying to find him, and it has been 5 years now. We are great, great friends again. And all the sorrow, pain, and anger I had in my chest because of that faded away like magic. And I got it. Despite you and I, we all make mistakes in life and hurt each other sometimes. It is not the end of the world. I've learned from the Rwandan people that true forgiveness is a magic healing power that heals the pain and allows us to move forward together and build a better future. So, fellow Toastmasters, if you are or will be angry with someone, please consider this. When your life is a mess, or there is a mess in your head, I don't know, but definitely sorrow in your chest, go down deep into your heart and forgive. Because forgiving is the right thing to do. Contest share. Okay. So let me stop sharing. Ooh. What is that? Okay. So that's my speech. That it's the version of the semifinal, because this speech was performed in club level, at area, division, district, and region. But then in the semifinal, he was changed. Always, it was always improving. I was always improving the speech until the semifinal. So let's start this talk. I want to know if there are people here in Toastmasters less than 2 years. Please write in the chat. If you are a Toastmaster less than, okay. So we have a few people that are new to Toastmasters. And my first question is, you are going to deliver your next speech soon. I want you to tell me how many messages you are willing to deliver on that speech. How many messages? You can, there is no wrong number. You can just, of course, if you say 100, it will be very awkward, but how many messages? Okay. Well, we have an idea already. Public speaking, when you are speaking to an audience, the goal is that what you want to say can land perfectly. In the contest, and mainly in the contest that what we're talking about, this is a mistake that I've made in the past that I don't want you to make it. One message only, please. One message only. And everything you do will be toward that message. Because if you are delivering a speech about something and you say along the way, by the way, you should care about global warming because the rainforest is dying. It's distracting. Yeah, it's distracting. One message only. This is the first lesson that I will, the first advice that I share with you today, because I've done it differently in the past. I didn't know. So maybe if you are new, you may not know it as well. So we have, if we don't have a message, we don't have a speech, right? Otherwise, we are just a stand-up comedian or someone entertaining the audience. If we have a message, for in the contest, you have different type of speech. You have an informative speech. Let's see if I want to deliver a speech about the weather, it's an informative speech. But in the contest, what you have is a motivational speech. So if it is a motivational speech, there are a few things that we should consider. You are trying to motivate your audience. So you will talk just the way your audience understands. And I give you a simple example with my mom and dad. My father used to tell me, not only me, my brothers and sisters, but talking about myself, used to tell me, son, you need to study to become a man of tomorrow. I was very young. I couldn't understand it. But my mom, she should be a Toastmaster. She used to tell me, if you don't do your homework from school, a giant monster will come and eat you. So I do my homework. It is an extreme example, but you have to suit everything you do in order to that message to be landed perfectly. Let's talk about the structure. I will share my screen and we will create a PowerPoint together. Let's see if I have here a blank PowerPoint. Yes, I have it. And I will share my screen. Can you see my screen? Well, now I can't see you. Ah, you are here. Okay, this. When we talk about the structure itself, we have three main blocks. And it's not a secret that we have, let's say, that we have the introduction, I hope to write it correctly, but if I don't, you know already it's because of goal. English from United States. So where is my mouse? Ah. Well, we have the introduction, we have the body, and we have the conclusion. Okay, this is the three main blocks of speech. I know that telling this, it sounds like, okay, everybody knows. Believe me, there are many people that don't know this or don't use it perfectly. So starting from the bottom, from the end, in the conclusion, you will deliver your message. Okay, you will deliver your message, will make a call to action. You want people to do something. You want people to change know something so they can change their mind, change their behavior, or something like that. But there are a few things that you have to do before, so they are completely, the audience is willing to receive that message. So when they receive that message, they have their shield, because when you start a speech, the audience have the shield like this, and you have to load this shield in order to pass your message perfectly. And I will share with you, or I will ask you to share with me a few messages that you will consider to deliver in a speech. if you want to share in your chat. We are doing this together, okay? So it's a co-creation. Anyone? Let me see here. Make love, not war. Yes, Percy, great. Go, go, go. Don't compare yourself with others. Yeah. Yeah, but we have 3 messages here or 4 messages, and we can work with them. Make love, not war. Let's say that you make a speech, make love, not war, or make a speech about don't compare yourself with others. And my question is, who the hell, I can say hell, I'm in my living room, so I believe I can say hell, okay? Who the hell are you to tell me what to do with my life? Why are you telling me to make love, not war? Why are you telling me not to compare to others? For me, maybe comparing to others is a way to move forward, to try to do better. Who are you? You don't have that credibility. And as a speaker, as a contestant, you don't have the credibility to tell people what to do with their life. You have to work on your credibility first, okay? And credibility is one of the 3 elements of rhetoric. If you want to persuade people, you persuade with the rhetoric. And credibility is one of the 3 elements of rhetoric. So as a speaker, how do you can get that credibility that you need to persuade people? And one thing you can do that, one thing is the story. Because when you tell a story and you go through that story, you have experienced something and you learn something from that story. You can share what you've learned with people, and automatically you have that credibility to share. So here, let me put this here and make it a different color. But I'm colorblind, so I will put colors with different. Don't worry about the aesthetics. In the conclusion, what you should do, I would say that you should do the prepare. I would say prepare your message or make your point. You should make your point. And call to action. But before that, there is a thing that I will leave here, and we will talk about it later. You have your story, you tell your story, now you have the credibility to share what you've learned with that story, and you make your point, and you call to action, you make call to action, so people can do what you are telling them to do. And before that, you have the body. And of course, the body is where you present your story or your argument, and it's your main part of your speech. It's the body. So let's leave the body by now and jump to the introduction here. What do you think that we should have in introduction? Just some ideas. Can you write in the chat? I will put my chat here. Everybody can see it. Because if you are trying to send me a private message, everybody is oh boy. A few ideas I have here. Create a cliffhanger. A lot of give facts, a hook, a question, the purpose of your speech, rhetorical question, a joke, ask a question, surprise, shock the audience to get them hooked on the story, create a cliffhanger, a pool, tell an event in which I've participated as that illustrates the problematic, a big gesture, attention. Well, you are right. You are right. In the introduction, I will give you this example. When you are watching YouTube and you have this an ad, and with that 5 seconds to skip, sometimes I don't skip, and maybe sometimes you don't skip either. Why is that? Because the ad hooked you. And that's what you have to do in the beginning of your introduction of your speech. Do something that is completely different. So you will arouse curiosity from the audience. Something that they want to know more, that I want to see what's this going. And more than that, for the contest, there are another thing that I believe that you should do. So you should hook the audience. It's turning to Portuguese. Oh, Australian audience. But there are another thing as a contestant that you should do. You should be likable. I don't know if likable is let me check if, well, make the audience like you. The audience likes you. I don't know. No, they don't like you. Well, why is that? If you notice in many speeches, I don't know if you are familiar with the world champion speeches, there are things that they do in the beginning that it's not only the hook, but it's also to create some empathy, create some, so that people can lower the barrier, lower the shields to, and starting liking you. This year, when Cyril Jr. Dean started his speech, he made a joke about with the contest chair. He said, I love that the contest chair or look more Zimbabwean than I do, something like that. And Vera can confirm she was there in the convention. And there are a lot of things. In my speech, when I say a white guy and I blink and I say a black guy, I'm doing this not for the sake of the speech itself, but for the sake to conquer the judge, to conquer the audience, to be likable. You know, this is very important to hook the audience. It can be a question, It can be, let me see my notes here, just not to forget anything. You can come across with a question. You can come across with an unexpected prop, come on stage with this, for instance, and people, oh, what is that? It's a hook as well. You can make a rhetorical question, a quote, or a statement that it's some kind, it's not so usual. Everything that you can come across with that it's different is a hook. And after that, you will frame your message. I wouldn't say message, frame your subject. And it can be here or it can be in the beginning of your body, because you will frame your subject, but not being very specific about your topic, not spoiling your speech. And if you took the first advice I gave, that is always one message, the second advice that I will say is, don't make your title spoil your speech. Sometimes I see the title of a speech and I know already what it's all about. If you want to create that suspense, that curiosity, don't let the title of your speech spoil the rest of your speech. While you are framing your subject or framing your message in some certain way, you will create a tunnel in which you will work on. But it's not completely focused in your subject yet, or you leave room for creativity. Although it's telling me that the subject is around this, it can be this or that or another thing. In my speech, I frame the message since the beginning in an awkward. I try to hook and frame the message first, and then I make myself likable to the audience. When I say, sometimes my life is a mess and have sorrow in my chest and I don't know what is the right thing to do. So I'm telling already what is the conflict. If you know about storytelling, you know that the conflict, it's one of the elements of storytelling. You have a conflict that you have to solve. And how will I solve that? I want them to come with me. Okay, he has this conflict. How it will be solved? And then I start my story with my friend in a way so I can be likable, so the audience can like me. This is very important. When you are telling your story, and then in the body, you have basically two different approaches. You have a first approach. We have a first approach, which is tell a story and make a point. And you have a second approach, which is something like make a statement, validate it with generally three stories slash arguments slash facts, and then make a point. And I will create a second slide here just to tell you, to show you, and let me create a new slide. We come to this already. let me talk about this. Tell a story and make a point. This is my speech, for instance. I told a story, I learned from my story, and I share what I've learned with the audience, and I ask them to behave in a certain way, to forgive. This year, we'll talk about this year because it's the world champion. Maybe you saw it for the new members. Cyril Junior Dim, he told a story about his name that he didn't like, and then he saw the name of one of his friends, and his friend was completely okay with his name, was proud with his name, and he decided to accept himself. Okay, so this is tell a story and make a point. It's more common. I will share this, and I will copy from other PowerPoints that I've done in the past. So that you can see this. Wait a minute, I'm just trying to copy this. And to put here. This is, I watched all the speeches, at least since 2000 and a few before, and there are more, but I found these three with make a statement, validate it, and make a point. This is Mark Brown. It will close our Winners Academy. So it was the champion 2095. Mark Brown, Head Tate, Lance Miller, Presilian, I forgot his name, it's Press to me. Danajaya, Darren Tay, Manoj, Verity Price, Cyril Dean Jr. as well, all of them and many more, they used tell a story and make a point. And these guys here, they use make a statement, validate it, and make a point. I will take, for example, this Muhammad Katani. I don't know if you know the speech, is the winner of 2015. It's the best intro I've ever seen. And I know that Percy think the same. It's the best intro I've ever seen. I don't know if you know this speech. He starts by trying to smoke on stage. And then he said, the audience start laughing. He said, what? Oh, do you think that smoke can kill? And it's amazing. Try to see this, to watch this speech. And he make a statement and validate it with two stories and one kind of argument. The first story was about his son that used to scratch, to paint the wall, the wall. The second story, it's not a story, it's an argument. Why we don't care about global warming or something like that? Because the scientists, when they go to deliver a speech about that, they don't know how to speak to hook the audience, to make it interesting. And the third point, the third story or argument is a story about a friend that wanted his dad to be proud of him, and his dad was not proud of him. Long story short, he died with overdoses of drugs. So when he made this statement and validated the statement with these three stories, now the audience say, okay, yeah, I believe in that statement. Yes, yes. And when the audience is already believing in that, in the statement, is when you make your point, that you can persuade people not before, after that. So if you want to persuade people, tell a story or use your argument and do whatever you want. But when I made this presentation, I made this for the conference in Aveiro, but I missed one guy that I saw a few days ago, Jock Elliott, the winner of 2011. It's amazing. Jock Elliott won the contest, not telling not even one story. Not even one story. So if you want to check the champion of 2011, you will see a very different speech with no story at all. No story. It's not tell a story and make a point. It's not to make a statement, validate it, and make a point. So let's go. Now, you have to hook the audience. You have to make yourself likable to the audience to lower their barrier, to lower their shield, okay? So you frame your message, but not revealing that much. Verity Price, for instance, said when she was a little girl, her dad used to tell fairy tales, but she became an adult and her life was like a scary tale. You know, she framed the message, but not telling completely what she was going to deliver. And in the body, it's when you use your argument, your story, make what my advice for you, what I would say is tell a personal story. Can you see this? It's big enough to read? Yes. Tell a personal story and make a universal point. If you ask me for advice, that's what I tell you. Because you tell a story, you know, if your audience is from the same country, share the same values, okay, maybe you don't care about your story to be that universal because you know your audience. But when you go to the international contest, you have people from different parts of the world. So you have to make sure that your story is universal. So your story, your point is universal. And I will now come here to complete this with a different color, which is widen the target, or I call them align the audience with you. So what is this point? This point is you tell your story. So Cyril Dean Jr. told his story about his name that he didn't like. Someone in the audience could say, oh, well, my name is John Smith. I'm the son of Mr. Michael Smith, and I come from a long generation of Smith. I have no problem with my name. Right? You should slap them, but I'm against violence. It's just a gentle slapping. Because people are taking this very literally. The problem is not the name. The message is acceptance, accepting yourself. And that's why Cyril, before landing his message or calling to action, he said, maybe you were fat or you were you didn't like the way you look. He made a lot of things. He said a lot of things so audience could connect to what he was feeling or used to feel. When you tell a story and did you see that the message could not be as universal as you would like it to be? You have to make some analogies so that they can, analogies and comparisons so that they can understand. Cyril was not okay with his name. Maybe I was not okay because I was short, or because I was tall, or because I was fat. And he does that. And in the several speeches of World Championship that Cyril used this widen the target, used a lot of time widen the target. Give some example, and maybe not you, maybe you know someone who died this and that and that. So you can feel what he had felt, so they can experience what he had experienced, so they can learn what he had learned. And because now we are synchronized, my struggle, my experience, and what I've learned, we are synchronizing the audience and the speaker. I can lend my message because my message makes sense to me because of my background, because of what I know. If you don't make your audience, you don't give your audience the same experience, they will not understand your message as you do yourself. But widen the target, and make this here. Widen the target. It's not only used in the end when you try to deliver your message. Widen the target can be used in your story, in your argument as well. In Aveiro, I gave an example. Let's say that you are telling your story, right? And you say, my dog died. For most of us, they will understand that you are sad. They would understand your struggle. They will understand your pain. But for a certain part of the world, they will say, yes, we have meat for dinner. Okay? So to widen the target here or align the audience with your argument, and you have to say something like that. My dog is dead. It was like my brother is dead because I loved that dog so much. Of course, this is only if you see that it's not a universal value. Okay, if it's not a universal in your argument, in the building blocks that you are creating, so when you land your message, it will not receive the same way. It will not be universal as you wish. So just to let me see my notes here, if I don't miss anything. Main call to action. Okay. So guys, we are running already late. We started at 7:10. The introduction, one message. Write it down, one message. Then when you go on stage, hook the audience with whatever you want. I'm recapping my presentation. Hook the audience with something that can shock, a rhetorical question. Rhetorical question is overused, but use whatever you want, or an anecdote or something. Make yourself likable. Try to conquer the audience like it was a beautiful lady and you want to conquer her. And frame your subject or your message, but not too much to spoil your entire speech. And I would go with tell a personal story and make a universal point. But you can go as well to make a statement, validate it with 3 stories or facts, And then when you feel that this point is already validated, make this statement is validated, then make your point and call to action. Be aware, basically, this is entire body. Be aware that I will make it transparent. No, sorry, guys. Transparency, 80%. Oh, but now you cannot read it perfectly. Well, okay, oh, no problem. This is throughout your body. Okay, don't worry about that. This is throughout your body. You have to make sure that every single piece that is necessary to understand what you will deliver in the end is universal as well. Otherwise, make some analogies, make some comparisons to widen the target. Not only this subset of the audience would understand my message, but with analogy, you will widen the target. And then, in conclusion, you make your point, widen the target again, and you call to action. And other thing very important is transition between the parts of your speech. Even inside the body, the transition between one story to other story, one argument to other argument, and you have to take care of that. And if you do this, believe me, you have a great speech. Now, let me just, for one thing that I recalled right now, when you're telling your story, don't try to be I would say, the hero of your own story. People get related when you have struggles, that you show some humility. You're not the one that tell you didn't figure the situation by yourself. In my story, the turning point of my ignorance to awareness is when I watch the interview with that teacher from Rwanda. In the Cyril Junior Dean, the turning point is his friend. When in the library, when he sees the full name of his friend. This is a rhetorical device that is known as anagnorisis. It's the turning point. And this turning point, when you go from the ignorance to the awareness, should be given by something outside of you, not yourself, because it will be very bragging. I'm so good that I did this and that and so on. No, you were ignorant, and then you have this light from someone else that make a click in your mind and change your behavior. So now you have that experience that you are sharing with other people. So I think I conclude my questions, Q&A now. If you have some doubt, you can. I will stop sharing.
Isidro, you already have a question here on the chat.
Oh.
Owen, that says something like, Isidro, you mentioned there are 3 important triggers with persuading an audience. One is credibility. Sorry, I'm too tired. Can you mention the other 2?
Yes, I can, and I can show you.
Okay, not only tell us, but show us.
Yes, I told you that I'm great. If it wasn't the cold, I would be amazing.
We trust you. We trust you.
I have this here, and I will just copy it from other workshops, presentations, and things I've done in the past. Well, you have this is the triangle of rhetoric, of the three elements of rhetoric by Aristotle. This has more than, it's more than 2,000 years old. The first is ethos, or ethos, I believe in the Greek pronunciation, which means credibility, knowledge, or authority. If I'm a doctor and I tell you, you should take this pill, this medicine, you will automatically believe in me, right? But I, Izidro, I said, you should take this pill. Why? Who the hell are you to tell me to take this pill? The second is logos. It's a Greek word for logic, arguments, for logic, and it's also argument, facts, and science evidence. And the third one is pathos. You never will convince people without emotion. This is the fundamental key to convince people. And I made this with Asman. Asman, do you remember that? Asman, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Do you remember Veru when I asked you?
You asked, what did you ask me? Sorry.
Okay, I will do it again, but now with Carlos Vilaça. Carlos, can you tell us a decision that you have taken, a rational decision that you have taken in your life, of course, that you can share here?
Irrational.
No, rational. Rational. Yeah. That it's not emotional, okay? It's rational.
Well, a jump from a bridge with a rope without thinking.
What?
A jump from a bridge with a rope.
But
Irrational is
no, it's not rational.
irrational.
No, I don't. Irrational, rational like this.
Rational. Okay.
Sim. Racional.
I understand irrational.
Oh no.
You
know, we used to say that we take an emotional decision and a rational decision.
Yeah.
So I want one rational decision that you have taken.
So many things.
Anyone that want to
Yes.
share a rational decision?
Yes, for example,
Yeah.
I have decided to wake up at 7 a.m. every day.
Okay. So do you think it's a rational decision, right?
Yes, because my mental
Yeah.
was activated.
Okay. So
I decided
why did you decide to wake up at 7 a.m. every day?
because the future belongs to those who wake up early.
So you want to stay here longer, right?
I want to fill my life with the interesting things to do.
Okay. So interesting things to do. It's not rational anymore. It's already emotional. Things that you love to do, things that you want, you love, you like to do, or things that you fear. You know, when we say that we took a rational decision, actually we are saying that we used also, it's also a rational decision. But underneath any rational decision, you have emotion.
Yes.
And the human beings are driven only by two kinds of emotion. What? Only by some book this say one thing, but mainly two kinds of emotion: fear or love. And then you take your decision based on that. 7 is a number. Why 7? Because you think that it will be better for your health. It will be better to do interesting thing that you love. So it's an emotional decision as well. If you have your speech, you want to persuade people use emotion. It can be conveyed more explicitly, as I did. I don't like it that much anymore. Or a subtle, more subtle, but you have to convey emotion. That's very important. So I think I answered the question. Another, how to gain authority. Okay, this is a good question. You don't have authority, but if you quote someone who has that authority, you are borrowing authority, borrowing credibility. If you say, okay, this article from Professor blah, 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 shows that if we do this, we can reach this place. You are borrowing authority. When you quote, or even if you make your arguments and the way you talk and so on, you can create that credibility. So because this is all connected. And your story is the best way to create authority, okay? And credibility, because it is you. And tell a personal story, not somebody else's story. If you tell somebody else's stories, make it your own, that you are there, how you felt about someone's struggles or someone's conflict. But it's your story that has another character in it. I think Salvador Ribas, did I answer your question? I think so. So let me see here. Make the audience that file. Okay.
Oh, you have another one, very important one here.
Tell me.
Please, some advice for the structure of an evaluation speech.
Oh, this is out of scope of this. But I will tell you what I did, because it was, when I go to evaluation speech, I create several frames, prepared frames. And then when they give the speech, which I call the picture, I will see in which frame it will fit. And I make some adjustments. If you go there completely impromptu, it will be harder. But I didn't prepare for the evaluation speech. My last evaluation contest was in 2018. I was a young man. So
Maybe we need to start working on the evaluation speeches.
yes. Any other question? Please, some advice. Evaluation speech. Yeah, that's yeah. It's this. It's the structure is the same. You have to enter with your introduction, something that make people like you, and maybe some part of the story of the speech that you can make it yours. Oh, Paris, wonderful! I remember Paris when I was there, but I can tell something like that. Make some joke or some, and then of course you have to evaluate the speech. Say things that you liked, things that should be improved, and handing, summarizing with good things and encouraging people to keep competing or keep making speeches.
Excuse me, can I ask a question?
Yes, Asma, please.
About Miriam Mantagi's question about some advice for the structure of an evaluation speech. You said you go to an evaluation speech with the prepared frames in advance. What do you mean by frames? Just very quickly, if you.
Yeah. Okay. You know, the speeches, the message. There are few messages that speeches generally have, and I can show you this. For instance, let me create a new slide here. I know that it sounds awkward a little bit what I'm saying, but it can help. Oh boy. copy this to this. If you go to the Miss Universe website, you will find messages like, let's all be nice, take the next step, don't be afraid of failures. It is never too late to follow your dream, use word wisely to make world better place and change your life for the better. I make this joke in a video, but this is not from the website of Miss Universe. This is actually messages from the winners, world champions. So if I think of the speech, the main message of the speech is it's never too late to follow your dream. For instance, or something similar, you should go further or follow your dreams or something. I have in my mind a frame already. And what can I do to hook the audience? What kind of experience in my personal life that I can make a connection to the speech? You know, that's it. And the more you practice, you will have the bigger is the amount of frame that you have. And then you can use it, because this is about being different. If you evaluate a speech, everybody will say which is good, which is to improve, but who do it in the vivid way that the judge will remember, that would be funny to the audience, that it makes something different, that is the one that most likely will win. That's what I think. Okay, but I'm not very experienced in evaluation. I don't study evaluation, speech.
I think
Okay.
that
Thank you very much.
I think that you are trying to say, Izidro, is that an evaluation speech is also a speech.
Of
So
course.
it needs to have a structure, of course. And that is a main important point about the evaluation speeches, because they need to be a speech not only focused on evaluation, but also on the structure of the speech. I'm sorry to add this to you.
That's completely.
You are the guest today and our authority, but I just wanted to add this small advice, if I can.
Okay,
So
and thank you. It's completely. You are completely right.
Do we have time for one more question? Oh, this one is very good for you, from Maria. How can you make someone else's story your story?
Yours. Okay, my speech in 2019 was about what is Diri. What is Diri was a woman, and her story was very sad in the beginning of her life, but she ran away from Africa by herself, and she managed to get to London and working in an underpaid jobs, and then she became a top model. My speech was about her, but it was how I felt about her story, how I felt about her example, and how that story, which is hers, changed me and made me angry about certain things. So that's how you can make someone else's stories yours. Because when you are watching someone else's stories, you have feelings. And if you learn something with that story, it's your story that has another character in it. So that person is a character of your story. I think I have answered. Okay.
That's clear.
Okay, maybe the last question, and then we will wrap up our online session.
If there is one question.
Excuse me, can I ask a question?
Of course, Asma.
To Mr. Izidro. Is this slide that we are just viewing now, you're sharing with us, is it the one you asked me to remind when we were in Aveiro?
Yes, I showed this in Aveiro, and
Okay.
these actually are, and I will put the second one here, and I make the joke, and I ask people, would you use this message in your speech from Miss Universe? And actually it was,
It's never too late to follow your dream, right?
yes, and others. It was, let me copy to here. It was actually from these guys. This is Let's All Be Nice, Ed Tate. Ed Tate, as the speech of Ed Tate, the message is implied throughout the speech. There is no message in the end. So you should do this and that. No, it's implied. And this guy, take the next step. Don't be afraid of failures. It's Darren Lacroix. He says Lacroix, but it's Lacroix because his name is French. Anyway, Jim Key, 2003, it's never too late to follow your dream. Buhari Katani, use words wisely to make the world a better place. And Verity Price, I put it, change your life for the better. But actually what she said is write a different story. It would be a great, it's go for a great read or something like that. But basically it's change your life for the better, okay? So message itself is a cliche, and there are plenty of them. There are few of them, you know, it's a cliche. What do you do before? Your delivery, your structure, your engagement. Jock Elliott was so engaging with no story. What do you do with that and make you win a contest or make a great speech and make your message be powerful in the end? And I give you another example, very simple. If I say to some girl, and I just make jokes with girls, oh, you look so beautiful. Let's discuss some problem. Let's go for a ride. For instance, if she likes me, she will find it great. If she doesn't like me, she will find it rude. Okay, so what you have to do as a speaker is make that girl or that guy loves you. So when you say every rubbish, if you say, oh, yes, okay, whether it is a girl or a boy, that's your job as a speaker.
Okay, Izidro, and I think we already love you since the beginning.
Oh.
So
I would be great tonight, but you know, I have the cold.
Oh yeah, but we love you anyway. I think I'm not the only one. You can share your love with the chat, or you just can turn on your mic, sorry, and say how much we love Izidro and your presentation. So I think you would be even greater if it was not the code, but you have everything: credibility, authority, and emotion and structure. So thank you so much for your presentation. I think it was very useful and very practical, and you showed us how we need to structure a speech, because it's not only about the message, it's not only about the emotion, it's also about everything all together. So you are receiving lots of love here on this chat, so you just can go there and see.
Thank you.
And I think we are coming to an end, and we need to announce again our next session of this Winners Academy. So we are going to finish our Winners Academy next week, 1 week from now, on the 16th of February. And of course, you will receive again the information, but don't forget that we are going to receive here with us for the first time, but our second world winner, but we are going to receive next Thursday, Mark Brown. If you want to add something, I just want to remind you of another subject. I don't want to mess or mix information. But don't forget that tomorrow at the same time, we are going to have an online session with Manuela Lanza on how to show your face on screen. So if you just want to join us, please do it. But this was just an extra message that I needed to share. But again, back to you, Izidro, so you can make your final statement. And thank you so much for this presentation and for being so engaged and leading this Winners Academy.
Well, thank you for attending. For me, people say that we should not thank the audience because we are the one sharing, but every time I share, I learn. And thank you. If I had these tips, my speech in 2019 would be even better. And today, as I say, I watch it and I say, oh God. So I hope you can learned something today, and that can be helpful for your path as a speaker. Okay, thank you.
I think you have a huge compliment here on the chat. That is someone saying, I'm thinking on going on the next contest. And I
yes,
think a great
Marisa.
compliments.
Go for it, Marisa.
Okay,
thank you, everybody.
Maybe we are coming to an end. Yeah, Marisa is saying yeah. So we are going to have a very skilled contestants because your structure and all your tips and all your knowledge will be for sure very helpful. So thank you so much again. Thank you for attending. Don't forget to join us next Thursday on the 16th at the same time. So we are going to receive Mark Brown, World Champion of Public Speaking. So see you all there. Thank you again. And let's have a rest and start our speeches for the contests. May it be international speech contest, languages, or evaluation. There are plenty of options. So see you.
Good.
Thanks so much. Thank you.